Muhammad Umar Farooq biological video. Please make sure to subscribe, like and share. So in this video we will talk about the sport in plant. The sport mean the sporting mechanism which that is hold on the plant by a cells. So we will discuss about the cellular level and their sporting system. So plant is made up of stem, root and leaves. That the stem is the major important role to support the plant in the environment because the wind and some major cause which that is bend the plant and light which that wilt the plant. So in the opposition that the stems provide strength, support, harness and erect the plant. So that is why the important things. So basically important, the plant is supported by the herbaceous plant which that is non-woody and woody plants. Both plants are supported by different function. There's a physiological importance and their structural importance is different with respect to the woody and herbaceous young plant which that are initial embryo growing plant. So here we will talk about the internal hydrostatic pressure called Turgor pressure keep them rigid and resistant to bending. So it means here is a plant which contains different types of cell and plant which that is a mini embryo that contains that cells. Cells absorb the water and there's a water will enter into the vacuole to become a turgid vacuole. So the turgidity is due to the entering of the water is erect the plant, and if lost the water from the cell, so the plant will be wilt. So that is known as exosmosis. So that's exosmosis means the water will remove from the cells, and endosmosis means the water will inside the plant. So that's here is the basic Turgor pressure is extremely important to maintain turgidity in plant. There's a Turgor pressure is due to the water, and that's important thing. The water is important for the turgidity. That's a tonoplast, which that is the outer covering of the vacuole, which that provide the strength and which provide the hydrostatic pressure to flexit the cell and give the spores. So another way here is the xylem and cortex, which that is a woody plant contain tissue that's made up of tissue sclerenchyma, and here is the colenchyma. We are going to the woody plant, which that is the explanatory strategy to how to adapt and erect the plant uh, in the environment which that are woody and mature plant. So here is the sclerenchyma cells which that is contain the fiber, and here is the cross section of the transverse cross section of the fiber, that's a lignified cell. So here is the pit which that is present is here, and on the other hand the colenchyma, which the colenchyma is the cell wall is looking here, and there's pit are not present, and there's a thickened pectin and cellulose cell wall is present, and there's a maturation of the um, thickened thick and pectin and cellulose cell wall is present, which that is give the strength and rigidity of the plant. So there's the xylem and cortex is made up of sclerenchyma and colenchyma cells. So another we will talk about the basically colenchyma and sclerenchyma is provide strength, hardness, uh, weight bearing ability. On the other hand, there's some herbaceous plant which that is, for example, the basically we will talk about here. That is the sunflower. There's a sunflower we will talk about here. So here is the I should mention that the colenchyma and sclerenchyma is provide strength, hardness, or weight bearing ability. So that is the weight bearing ability is provided due to the due to the Cholenchyma and Sclerenchyma. So remember about that. So another thing we will talk about here is the sunflower. There's a sunflower is the plant which that is the family Asteraceae, and that is the vascular bundles are uh, strengthened by additional sclerenchyma fiber which form bundle cap. So there's a additional sclerenchyma fiber which form bundle cap, which that is non-woody, but that's additional sclerenchyma, there's a fiber which form bundle cap that's provide the strength basically. And so that is why there a plant is um, erect, and Turgor pressure is obviously are present, but bundle cap is fiber which form bundle cap, that's a sclerenchyma fibers are present. So here is the little bit detail about the Turgor pressure. We will talk about the Turgor pressure. That's a Turgor pressure is due to the turgidity from the inside of the water, moving inside of the water, a vacuole. So the vacuole will be turgid and pressure exert outside of the wall of the cell. So there's outside pressure exert to flexate the basically dilate the cell, and the cell volume uh, vacuole want to improve the volume of the cell. So the cell valve give the pressure inside, and the vacuole give the pressure outside. So that pressure is completely uh, all cells do it, all cells do the same time in the same way, and that's the erection will be occur of the plant, and that sports of plant is obviously is due to the Turgor pressure. So the here is the high osmotic pressure of the cell vacuole, which that is due to the inside of the water, and potassium and sodium ion moving inside of the vacuole to attract the water due to the basically outside of the environment is extracellular fluid which contain less mineral and salt, but outside is less and inside is more. So here is the channel which that is used to potassium sodium inside, and that's potassium and sodium inside to improve the um, basically constriction of the minerals and ions, which that ions is attract the water to inside by a aqua pouring channel. So there's a outside is low constriction of salt and ions, and inside is high constriction of ions inside of the vacuole. So that is the it is known as the tonoplast. So the tonoplast is the basically um, vacuole, which that the wall of the vacuole is known as tonoplast, which give the strength and give the pressure of the cell to flexi. So that is why water will move inside gradually, and there's the cell will be delayed, and there's a vacuole exert the force of the wall of the cell, that is known as plasma membrane and cell wall, which that is turgid, and the all cell turgids, and that turgidity give the support of the plant. So here that these tonoplast help to turgid the plant cell. So you can see the diagram over here. So it's all about that the Turgor pressure. The Turgor pressure create the cells to erect, which that is the herbaceous plant, non-woody plant, which contain the primary growth and not secondary growth, and that's ground tissue is scattered around the stem, around the roots, or around the basically stem and root. So that is why the xylem is not present, secondary xylem is not present. The secondary xylem mean the wood, which that is contain the so it means that is the uh, basically secondary growth is preferred the making wood. So here the specialized cell are present is the cortex. There's the cortex, and upper layer of the stem is known as the bark, and here inside is the xylem, which they are showing the star-like structure, which that is a primary xylem, and further going in inside in due to the secondary growth is known as secondary xylem. So here first of all we will talk about the parenchyma cells, which that are present in the case of sporting mechanism. So the parenchyma cells is living and contain uh, vacuoles and nucleus, and there's a middle lamella are present in the are present, and here's the cell wall, and that is the also supporting to the herbaceous plant, and that's primary cell wall are present basically. So that is why it's the parenchyma cells is living and but not non-living, because non-living cells do not contain cytosol. So the cytosol is for living cells. So here is the middle lamella which that is attached, and here is the inside cellular space are present, and there's the primary cell wall is present is over here. Now we will talk about the cholenchyma cells. That's the cholenchyma cells is thickened pectin, thick because of pectin, and cellulose cell wall. So the cellulose cell wall is thick, and there's the thickness is due to the primary growth. So there's the angular thickening are present, which that's the cholenchyma cells. Here we can I will draw another diagram, so you can imagine and you can understand well with another diagram this that show the angular thickening of the cholenchyma cells. The cholenchyma cells is angular thickening is like here, like that is the black color shows that the angular thickening, which that is also living cells and sometimes non-living, but mostly living cells, because they are contain cytoplasm and cytosol and nucleus as well. And that's the angular thickening and lack of secondary wall, sometimes lack of secondary wall. So that is not the result of secondary growth but the result of primary growth. And they have protoplast elastic and elongate with growth, and it's spore to herbaceous plant. So that's also spore the herbaceous plant, it means it's living cells, and spore the herbaceous plant is not the secondary growth. So here you can see that the vacuoles are present, which the show is the cytoplasm, and there's a living plant. So it's spore to herbaceous plant mostly, but present in the woody plant also, but with short stems, not a whole wood which that is covered by the collenchyma. So another we will talk about the sclerenchyma fibers. That sclerenchyma fiber is the specialized plant cells. Basically, is here there's the sclerenchyma fibers and sclerenchyma sclerids, which that is two type. So basically, if the sclerenchyma fiber is looking here, which that contain a simple pits, and the simple pits is used for the conduction of water. That's the water moving inside and outside of the or another uh, neighboring cells or neighboring fiber to move upward of the water due to the sclerenchyma fibers made up of xylem, and the xylem is the importance to conduction of water. And on the other hand, phloem, you know about that, the phloem is conduct the food and mineral. So here is the another is sclerenchyma sclerids. That's the sclerenchyma sclerids contain pits, but that pits is made up of branches, and there's branches showing in the figure, which that is the transverse section of the sclerids, which that is showing and looking like that. And there's the shorter than the fibers, and the sclerids is the supporting to the seed coat and nut shells, etc. So that's important things because shorten and which that is the seed coat is made up of sclerids for the sporting in the environment. So further we can explain about that. We can explain they have thick secondary cell wall usually impregnated with in lining and organic substance that make the wall tough and hard. So that the wall of the cells is tough and hard uh, uh, due to the impregnation of the lining and pectin. So that's important things. And here the you can watch there's the vessel trachea, and there's a further divided into sclerids and shorter than fiber and present in seed coat and nut shells. Or another is the sclera in the form of fiber, which that is the present in the short then fiber basically. So here is the fiber looking here. You can identify and uh, basically you can see that basic structure of the uh, fiber and sclerids. So here is the fiber and which they are showing in the figure. That's the fibers tracheates, and that's the trachea is longer and tracheates is shorter and narrow. So here the fiber which that is looking here, and that's the xylem bundles and bundle caps which that is made up of uh, sclerenchyma. So now we will talk about the here is the seed coat which that contain are sclerenchyma sclerids. Basically he's looking here there's a seed coat. It's coconut nut shells and beans or seeds which that is protected by the sclerids. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the video and